One big advantage of WINPACCS is it can be easily customized to individual requirements. Welcome to the workshop Customizing WINPACCS. For those joining us online, if you like to attend the workshop titled Insight into the World's Most Successful Project Accounting Software, please switch to the parallel stream. You'll find the link in the chat. This workshop here will be led by Jan Benoit and János Heikam from MBI. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this introduction. I hope you still have a little concentration left at this last workshop, because we will show you how to turn WINPACCS into your WINPACCS now. My name is János Heikam. You've seen me before this morning. I'm a business analyst at MBI, and this is Jan Benoit, my colleague.
Yeah, warm welcome from me too. I'm Jan Benoit, and I work as a software developer at MBI. Yeah. First, we have, before we start, we have a little question for you. What is the first thing you associate with customizing? You can, as you know, vote with Slido. Just type in buzzwords that can come to your head.
Okay, so logo, flexibility. So far it's good things. Necessary. Master data, custom fields, we will come to this. Terminology. Easy, so I hope the one who wrote this is already using WINPACCS. Processes. Languages, okay, we'll come to this as well. There is some more typing, just wait a little more. Okay, so there seem to be some points where you need customizing, or you know that it's possible to have customizing, and we will come to many of those points in our presentation.
Yeah. If you want, you can download the slides here with this QR code. That may be helpful for you, because the slides contains many informations which János will show in live demonstrations here. But if you want to know these things afterwards, you can look at the slides. Yeah. So let's start with the first question for you, János. WINPACCS is advertised as standard software that fulfills the special requirements of its target group. So if it's standard, why do I need customizing?
Thank you for that. As you've heard in the previous presentations, our customer target group is clearly defined, but not homogeneous. As you know, there are differences between non-profit organizations and the consulting companies. There are small customers with only a couple of users on the one side, and on the other side there are companies with several hundred users of WINPACCS, and there are different ways of working with partners. And even within one company there might be differences, for example between the knowledge of the staff abroad, or there might be different requirements based on the project country. And with WINPACCS, we aim to provide a software that covers as many of these different requirements in a standard, but on the other side, enabling the necessary individual adaptations and extensions by customizing the application.
Okay, I see. Thank you. But are software developers at MBE required to make customizations for a fee?
That's what we've already told this morning, and I thought there might be a few negative points in the Slido, but you seem to have no experiences here. But as we know, with other software manufacturers, it's standard practice to use developers for customization. And whilst this is profitable for the vendor, it has various disadvantages for customers. So on the one side, it's time consuming and expensive. On the other hand, updating the software becomes harder and harder with the increasing customization. And we at MBI have a special philosophy and realize time and again how good and right it is. There are many settings in the application to customize WINPACCS to your needs. A few settings should be made at the beginning with a WINPACCS consultant because they cannot be undone. However, most of the settings you can edit yourself, as I showed this morning as an administrator of your organization. This is possible because we focus on one sector. It allows us to tailor WINPACCS very specifically to the processes of development cooperation. We have a lot of conversation with customers, and when requests for new functions arise, we assess whether it is also relevant for other customers. If so, we add the function as an option. In other words, we add a setting to WINPACCS that each organization can choose whether they want to use or not this new function. Today we can only show a small part of those many possibilities.
Okay, that's nice. But what exactly do these customization options look like?
Yes. So now that we've talked about a little about customization, the points that we can look into detail is at first the modular structure of WINPACCS. Then we can have a look at custom roles as well as custom fields. I will say something about reports and analysis in WINPACCS, and at the end a little thing about project types.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of possibilities. Could you show us an example for each of these points? For example, what is the modular structure for? Yeah.
Sure. So the main feature of WINPACCS, as was described this morning by Günther Hermann, is the project accounting. So this is used by all our customers. But in addition to this, over the last year, there grew a rising opportunity of optional features. So for example, there's asset management, project planning and monitoring, document management, access for external partners. Many functions of those were presented today in separate workshops, so we are not going to go into detail. But let's take a look at the necessary settings. Okay, so the same thing as this morning. If you're an administrator, your most important functional area is the organizational settings. From here on, there's many things that you can control. And as an example, let's look at the inventory management. So in the general settings, you can see this is an optional feature which is activated. This is what I was talking about. You have to do this with a consultant in order to define how you want to use it. And after it's activated, you have many more options that you can edit by yourself. So for example, available movement types, additional fields. I don't want to go into the details about the specifics, but that's similar for all other optional modules as well, the structure like this.
Okay, so I can select the functions that I really need. Does every employee have access to all activated modules?
In WINPACCS, every user has a personal account, and user roles control the permissions this user has. That is standard for multi-user software, but we go one step further. We know that standard user roles do not always match the employee's area of responsibility exactly. So what we can do is we can define customized roles. If we go back to the organizational settings and we have a look at the user administration, here we find the custom roles. And this you can use to define your own roles and have specific permissions for your users. So let's have a look at this finance officer. This is one custom role here. We see it is based on a standard role, and the standard role defines the available rights for this custom role, and you can decide which rights a user of this role should have or which it should not have. So for example, this is a role where the user cannot archive donors, can't change project types, and some other restrictions. So once this custom role is created, you can go back from the organizational settings and open the user administration. And I will apply this custom role to a user. It was called Finance Officer. And here another special feature of WINPACCS, you can see the assignment of a role is not globally in WINPACCS. It can be global, but you can also restrict it further. So for example, a user should have this role only in selected countries or selected projects. I saved this user, and now let's see how it looks if we log in with this one. Okay, so you can see at the first sight on the dashboard, there's not as much possibilities as was with my administrator users. It's only a couple of functional areas. And what you might see as well is that this is in French. So you have the possibility to decide a standard language for each user. We have French, German, English, and Spanish.
Okay, thank you, Janos, for this insight. But making the entire application available in 4 languages is certainly a challenge at times regarding the technical terms and all the documentation, for example.
That's right, but we see that it is necessary to enable operation in an international environment.
Yeah, that's true. Things like that make the difference in everyday work. And what do I need? Why do I need custom fields for, or what do I need custom fields for?
Let's go back to my administration user. So many objects in WINPACCS have master data, for example, projects, fundings, assets, and others more. You know it better than me, probably. We offer universally relevant data in a standard, but some organizations wish to additionally maintain specific information. For this, custom fields are required. A customer told us that they were able to replace the separate project management system with custom fields in WINPACCS. I can show you how simple it is to create a custom field. No, actually, I already showed it to you this morning. And we have a look again in project administration, custom fields. So the second example this morning was the classification field. And if we have a look at this, it's a classification of the sectoral working areas. And this means that I, as an administrator, can define which values are available. So we already have agriculture, education, healthcare, and let's just say our organization is now using as well infrastructure projects. There we go. Now I saved it. And now we can change the sector to infrastructure of this project. And if we save the project as well, we can have a look what we can use these fields for. So the big benefit of those classification values is that you can use them in controlling as well. And I won't go into detail about what are all the possibilities of controlling, but let's just have a quick look at this analysis that I prepared. It's as a line structure, we have the sectoral working areas, and we can see here that infrastructure is there already with costs of projects in Nepal. So this is the project that I just changed. It's already here in controlling with this new custom fields that were used.
Okay, nice. It's very, very great that you can use these custom fields also in analysis. But as you mentioned, this is a finished or prepared analysis. So what is that and how was it created?
That's a good question. For those of you who are not yet familiar with WINPACCS, an analysis is a custom evaluation of costs, basically. Within a project, it is also possible to compare costs against the budget. We presented controlling in detail earlier today, so as I said, I won't go into detail here. But regarding customizing, I can only repeat that it is very flexible and easy to design your own analysis with the help of a configuration wizard. So if I click on this plus sign here, there's the configuration, and I have levels of analysis which define the row structure of my analysis. And then in a second window, I can have the columns, so the costs, and in a project even budgets, and I can break them down per time, for example. And there are even filter possibilities. And once saved and created such an analysis, I can open it any time to get and check the current figures. But that's only one possibility of reports in the specific field of controlling. There are many places in WINPACCS where we have tables. And for those tables, we have standard table functions, which are another possibility to create reports. And we have an online help, which is a good guide on what is possible here. So if I go to a page of WINPACCS where we have a table, and I click on this question mark on the top, I can open the help of WINPACCS. And there's written something about table settings. And here we see all the possibilities. We can sort columns, select lines, filter, group data. We have quick filters and others more. And you can see already it's colored here, the background. If we open it, there's a little description or little videos showing you how to use it. So this is a good thing to start learning how to use it. But we can have an example as well here. So in controlling, for example, I can set a filter to a project country Nepal and save this. And then I could group it by project number. And I could show additional master data of a project or of the postings. And at the end, as with the analysis, I can save this view and open it again at a later point of time. And another thing is that you can not only view this in WINPACCS, but you can as well export it in PDF and Excel format. This applies not only to WINPACCS Cloud, but also to WINPACCS Accounting and Cashbook. And a third possibility of reports regarding project accounting is a number of standard reports that we created. So let's go back to the organizational settings one more time. And we look for WINPACCS Accounting. Here you can see a list of reports. So there's account sheets, cost and income, overview of project expenses. And for each of those reports, you can define if they are relevant for you or maybe not. And those who are relevant, you mark here as mandatory. And every time an accountant does a month-end closing, those reports are automatically created and transferred to WINPACCS Cloud. So let's have an example and open a data packet. So this is a month-end closing here. And there is a list of closings. And all of them have been created automatically. It's no additional work for the accountant.
Okay, thank you for the demonstration. The last topic on the agenda was project types. What does that mean?
Yes, that's an important feature as well. So basically it's similar to custom fields, but there's a little bit more logic attached to it. So project types, as the name already tells you, it's about projects. So we go back to the organizational settings again and go to project administration. And next to the custom fields, we can see the project types here. And in this example, we have the project type office and project. Let's open one of them. So again, we see we have the name of this project type in all of our languages. And what we can do with this now is that it is possible to restrict the availability of the chart of accounts on this project types. So for example, if you have personal costs and you only want to post them in an office and not in a project, you could restrict this account to the project type office. And another possibility to use this is journal categories. This is under financial administration. We have journal categories, and each journal category is also assigned to project types. So for each project type, you define journal categories, and with these categories, you can restrict the available transaction types and categories to which are available in accountant. So we've heard this morning that the main thing of project accounting is transaction categories and types to make it easy for users to use accounting, and you can define which transaction types are available in each journal by this.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much, Janos, for this overview. That concludes our presentation. And as mentioned at the beginning, this was only a brief overview of the most important customization possibilities of WINPACCS. And yeah, now it's your turn to ask your specific questions to Janos. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Jan and Janos, for your great insights on the customization of WINPACCS.
You're welcome.